we saw the cloud of smoke go up across the city and thought, well, that's probably where we're going next. And sure enough, within 2 minutes, there was a call.
When they get to the scene, there's already a massive blaze raging through the building. A fire in a garage means danger from fuel, exploding canisters and poisonous fumes, quite apart from the actual flames.
Sector 3 to Adam. We can cope with the extra line as long as we get the hose.
50 people work within this building. When the alarms went off, they had no idea what an inferno this would turn into. Company director Kevin Watson was in a board meeting when the fire started.
We heard the alarm, thought that it was a fire drill, proceeded to exit. We congregated in the car park. We were informed by the workshop foreman that there was a small fire in the workshop, and when we looked that direction, you could see a tiny trail of smoke coming out of the workshop doors.
Within minutes, that trickle of smoke has become a raging fire. Even though everyone is now out of the building, the area is still full of homes and businesses that are at risk. Hundreds of people are in danger and dozens of buildings need to be evacuated. This is a massive operation for the fire brigade.
All the businesses were shut down for that day. The railway, which was right behind the garage itself, that also was shut down, so that meant there was no trains able to run through that point. A lot of domestic properties, houses and bungalows and flats and stuff were all evacuated at the same time.
Those buildings include the local radio station.
Spirit FM 80s classic from the Pet Shop Boys is called Opportunities. I woke up this morning, I thought, that's a Friday, it's going to be a relatively quiet day. And I can tell you that's not the case. Just to recap, the...
DJ Duncan Barkus is in his studio next door, just 100 yards from the blaze. Duncan is on air when the call to get out comes in.
There's a fire. There's a fire that's currently raging at the Peugeot car showroom stroke garage. How do I know this? Because as I just turn around over here, I can see billowing smoke rising up into the sky. So we'll evacuate the building. Stay tuned, there'll still be music going out, but things will be slightly different, a slightly different service to normal. And obviously once we get the all clear, we will be back broadcasting. It is 10 to midday.
Meanwhile, the firefighters are assessing exactly what's in the garage and how it will affect the fire.
When you get a fire that's rapidly developing like that, it would actually melt the glass and blow the glass out, hence why you get the rolling flames that come out of the windows. And within the workshop area, we've got everything that tenfold of what you'd find in a domestic garage. You've got your oils and your petrols, your rubbers, as well as the fabrics of a vehicle.
Back on the front line, Tony's team are wasting no time getting water onto the blaze.
It is 10 to midday.
Across West Sussex, Spirit FM.
The mini explosions from the aerosols and cans in the workshop are worrying enough, but that's nothing compared to what they could be facing. There's a store of acetylene cylinders. They contain a highly explosive gas, which is used to cut steel. Incident Commander Colin Davies is only too aware what it can do.
The cylinder it's in will heat, and if it heats to a certain temperature, that cylinder will rupture. And in rupturing, what happens is it obviously will flare, but at the same time it causes a shock wave. And that shock wave will come out from the building, will hit anything in its path. And if a firefighter stood in the...
Watson can't believe how quickly this fire is destroying his business.
The fire was gaining momentum, and the intensity was just so surprising from where it came from. And to see an establishment that you'd worked in for a number of years slowly burning was horrendous.
For DJ Duncan, this is turning into one of the longest and biggest days of his broadcasting career.
My name's Duncan Barkus. We were evacuated from the building earlier today because there's a fire at the Peugeot garage just off the Bognor Road. The fire is still raging. We'll give you more updates as we have it, but the whole area has been evacuated. But we have been allowed to broadcast from our outside broadcast vehicle in the car park to the rear of the radio station. Now, obviously, a lot of congestion...
While the broadcasters keep the show on air, the fire crews continue the fight against that raging fire. It's an extremely perilous situation. Those acetylene cylinders could explode at any moment. The huge aerial ladder platform is now pumping water onto the flames continuously. 500 gallons a minute are being thrown at this fire. For safety reasons, it's operated remotely. The firefighters must tackle this fire with extreme caution. The smoke is toxic and the whole fire is extremely volatile. It's one of the worst kinds they'll ever have to deal with.
The heat and humidity coming from the fire in the initial stages, and us with our adrenaline, was driving us, you know, and you just really do hype up. When you're actually in there doing your job, time flies. You cannot imagine how quickly it goes by.
From his van in the car park, DJ Duncan is doing his best to keep his listeners informed.
At last count, I counted about 12 to 16 appliances from all over Sussex and Hampshire. The emergency services will not let anyone back in to the various premises surrounding the area until they're 100% certain that there's not going to be a problem. So, of course,
but this fire is still spreading and anyone still in the area is at risk. Whether Back at the Peugeot garage, 20 fire crews are battling to control one of the biggest fires they've ever tackled. There's still a danger that acetylene cylinders could explode with lethal consequences. Roads in the area have been closed and the toxic smoke can be seen from 20 miles away. Hundreds of people have been forced to leave surrounding homes and businesses. There's no hope of saving the workshop, but over 50 firefighters are still pouring water onto this blaze to try to prevent it spreading to the showrooms. So far, they've succeeded.
Request additional personnel to remove salvage equipment that's coming out of the building, over.
They now decide it's safe enough to send a few firefighters into this side of the building to try to salvage whatever they can, but they've got to act quickly.
They were just sort of asking us to point them in the right direction. Not only the personal belongings, but there was the PCs and laptops, and they were just coming out with armfuls of bits of equipment.
One of the firefighters inside is Colin Davis.
The smoke that started to penetrate through the building made that difficult because you're trying to travel into the depths of the building. We try and go into deep, close within the fire, and then bring that out first, because as the fire develops, we'll take over that position, and then we can take the stuff that's further away from the fire out later.
The way that they were going to and fro amazed us, that the stamina, physical ability of these fire officers.
But some things can't be saved. Back in the workshops, the cars are burning. Within those flames, someone's pride and joy is going up in smoke. But the plan is to contain the fire and prevent it from spreading to the showroom, where firefighters are still battling against the odds to save the company's vital database. Suddenly, a whistle blows. That's it, the signal for everyone to leave. The heat has reached such intensity they can't risk firefighters' lives any longer.
That whistle is deployed to ensure that crews are aware that they must come back out of the building and vacate and go back to a safe point. Because the oxyacetylene was involved, because that's a potential killer, we had to pull back from the building.
Can you confirm whether there are any crews in the building outside, over?
With such danger from explosion, the crews have no choice but to pull back to a safe position. They know the acetylene cylinders may well rupture at any moment, and that's a life-threatening situation. Although everyone is now out of the building, the work is by no means over. The risk of explosion remains. The teams continue pouring water onto the workshop long after the fires died down. They've been fighting this fire for well over a day, and they won't be leaving for another 2 days.
The potential for harm here was immense with that oxyacetylene. It's a very harmful substance, and we have to treat that carefully. The potential for death was extremely high.
But thanks to the skill of the firefighters, no lives have been lost and no one's been seriously hurt.
The actual fire itself raged for a great length of time. It had burnt everything that it had to burn, and to a point where it couldn't burn any longer, so it started to self-extinguish in effect.
24 hours after that massive fire at Chichester's Peugeot garage, everyone in the surrounding area was back at work. DJ Duncan Barkus was on air when he was forced to abandon his studio.
One of the fire guys came in, and this was not just a normal fireman in an everyday suit. He was there in his full kit and big helmet and visor and everything. And he walked up the stairs, and he came into the studio, and he said, "You've got to get out."
My name's Duncan Barkus. We were evacuated from the building.
Duncan and his team managed to continue broadcasting from their van in the car park for 24 hours. He's in no doubt that was the right thing to do.
The phone lines were just red hot with people going, "Thank you for doing this. This was great. We were listening all of the time. How did you keep it up?" and stuff. And when you just get one of those calls, you realise we did the right thing. That was the right decision to make.